All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about a conversation I had with an AI that just went off the rails in a really strange way. And honestly, it's a story that's going to make you rethink what it even means for an AI to be wrong. Yeah, I know, that's a pretty bold claim to make, but just stick with me here. I'm going to walk you through step by step exactly how this all went down. And trust me, the reason behind it all is way more surprising than the lie itself. So here's how it started. It was super simple, really. I was just doing some research using ChatGPT, and I asked it for a few specific historical dates. A pretty basic task you'd think any powerful AI could handle no problem. All I wanted was some clear, factual information. I mean, that's the whole point of these tools, isn't it? To get us accurate info and get it fast. Or so I thought. And wow, the answer it gave back, it looked absolutely perfect. I mean, it was well written, perfectly structured, and it sounded so authoritative. But as I was reading it, this little nagging feeling started to creep in. Something just felt off. The details were so specific, and it was all stated with such confidence. It was almost, a little too perfect. So I decided to trust that little voice in my head. I did some basic fact checking, and, well, this is where things start to get really, really interesting. Okay, so first things first, I took one of the main facts the AI gave me. Let's just use an example. Say it told me with total certainty that the Eiffel Tower was painted blue back in 1889, right? Super specific detail, and it presented it like it was something everybody just knows. But then, a quick search, literally it took seconds, in a couple of reliable sources showed that, nope, the Eiffel Tower was actually painted a kind of reddish-brown color in 1889. So the AI's fact, it wasn't just a little bit off. It was completely made up. A totally confident statement with absolutely no basis in reality. Wild. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, all right, maybe it's just a fluke, a one-time glitch, right? So, to be sure, I decided to check another one of its claims from that very same response. And same thing. The pattern just repeated itself. Another really confident, super detailed statement that turned out to be completely false. Okay, so this wasn't just a simple mistake anymore. This was starting to look like a pattern. So I thought, let's push this a little bit. I started rephrasing my questions, asking in slightly different ways, and that's when it got even weirder. The new answers I was getting weren't just different from the first ones, they actually contradicted each other. It seriously felt like the AI was just making stuff up as it went along, just throwing things at the wall to see what would stick. So after a few more of these tests, checking its answers against actual real-world data, the conclusion was just undeniable. This AI wasn't just making a few mistakes. It was consistently creating and defending information that was flat out wrong. And when you lay it all out side by side like this, the contrast is just stark. On one side, you've got the AI's confident, totally plausible sounding answers. And on the other side, you have what's actually true. That gap between the two is just impossible to ignore. Honestly, it's the kind of thing that really makes you stop and question what these tools we're building are actually doing. Okay, so the evidence seems pretty clear-cut, right? The AI fed me false information over and over again and did it with total confidence. So it lied to me. Case closed. Or is it? This is where the story takes a really fascinating twist. And that brings us to the real heart of the matter. The biggest question in this whole thing. Was the AI actually trying to deceive me? And the answer, maybe surprisingly, is no. It wasn't trying to deceive me at all. What was happening was something else entirely. It's a technical phenomenon that we call an AI hallucination. So to really get what happened, we have to kind of set aside our human idea of lying and look at what's really going on under the hood. We need to talk about this thing called AI hallucination. So what exactly is an AI hallucination? Well, put simply, it's when an AI just makes stuff up, but it does it with complete confidence. It generates text that sounds totally plausible, it's grammatically perfect, but it's just not based in fact. A great way to think about it is this. It's not acting like a librarian, carefully looking up facts in a book. It's acting more like an improvising storyteller, just trying to weave a good-sounding tale. And that right there is the absolute key difference. For a human to lie, there has to be intent. You have to know what the truth is and then deliberately choose to say something different. An AI, it doesn't know truth like we do. It doesn't have beliefs or intentions. So a hallucination isn't a moral choice, it's a system error. It's a bug, not a feature.
So why does this even happen? Well, at their core, these AIs are basically just incredibly sophisticated pattern prediction engines. They're not databases of facts. Their main goal isn't to be truthful. It's to generate text that sounds plausible. They're just predicting the next most likely word in a sentence based on all the billions of examples they've been trained on. They don't know if something is true or false. Their job is to sound confident and coherent, not necessarily to be accurate.
Which really brings us to this powerful, kind of unsettling final thought. The AI didn't lie to me, but it also didn't know the truth. And as we start to rely on these systems more and more in our daily lives, you have to ask the big questions, right? How do we deal with a world where a machine can generate perfect confidence without any connection to reality? And what does that mean for our own understanding of what's true? That is definitely something to think about.